Pink Sheep. I am Evelyn of Pink Sheep Design, and today we are talking about the Me Made May challenge. So I'm super excited about this live. It kind of came about in a great way because I'm usually not sure what I want to talk about on Tuesdays unless I've really thought ahead and done some homework. And I had been seeing all of these posts with the hashtag Me Made May. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole and I realized this would be a really, really fun topic for a Tuesday live. So we can chat about this. And I would love to know first off if you guys have heard of the Me Made May challenge. I did a little poll on my Instagram stories a while back, and I think like 60% of the people who answered the poll said they had not heard of the challenge. And it's probably because it really started in the sewing community. So I thought it was really interesting because it's one of those things that it really transfers over really well. So people who make their own clothing, sew their own clothing, may not be in exactly the same boat, but in a very similar boat as people who crochet their own clothing because we're all making our own clothes and creating our own handmade wardrobe. So I feel like this is a challenge that's great for anyone who has made their own clothes. And so I really wanted to talk about it today. And at some point, I'm hoping to get the founder and creator of this challenge to join me for we're probably going to do like a Zoom call, and then I'm going to post it because she's in the UK. And so when I'm going live now at noon, it's 6 o'clock her time, so she's busy making dinner, and she was like, that's just never going to work for me doing that noon time, my time. So I think we're going to pick a time that will work for her, and we're going to go on like a chat together, and I'll record it and then I'll upload that. So I would love to talk to her about it and really see how she feels about knowing that this challenge that I'm sure started out as something small, something that was just for her, her main following and her blog, because she's got a sewing blog. And I would love to know how she feels about seeing it grow into other fiber arts, other areas of craft, that people can join in on the challenge and enjoy the challenge. And I just think it's really cool. So I'm hoping that I can get that to happen and that we can not go live together, but be able to chat and then post that here on my YouTube channel for you guys to listen to. Different location today because I am right in front of my computer so that I can see you guys' comments and so that I can actually read about the Me Made May challenge, since I don't have all of that in my head. And I wouldn't say I'm officially participating, but we're going to talk about that because I think that's what's so interesting about this challenge is you don't have to do it a certain way. There's not a winner for the challenge. It's not like you have to specifically do something and then enter to win prizes because you followed the challenge to a T. It's really just a personal challenge for yourself to learn how to appreciate your handmade items, even more, or, kind of fall in love with older designs that maybe you're not wearing as much as you would like to or could. So it's really interesting. So welcome everyone. I see Thorn is here. Jacqueline is here. Welcome. Emma is here. Megan is here. Kim is here. Welcome everyone. I'm so glad you've joined. I did just post a reel on Instagram about going live, but it was super last minute. I put the reel together and I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to see this in time to come over here to the live. They might. You never know. And I always wait till last minute. I didn't know I was going to talk about this till yesterday. So there you go. But that's kind of how I roll. I think that's why I am so much better at being a small business owner than working for other people because I can just kind of, fly by the seat of my pants, which is great. I did my hair today. So like that never happens. It had been long enough and actually the story was I went to film a story. I was just going to film an Instagram story about today's live. And I had the camera going and I was like, oh my God, like, I got to do something. Usually I don't really wear makeup. I don't really do my hair. But today I was filming the video and I was like, I need to do a little something. Well, this could get a little better. So, I don't know if you guys are ever in that boat. But thank you, Thorn. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yes. So, Thorn says they have not heard of the Me Made May challenge. Had any of you guys heard of this challenge before joining in on this live or seeing my post about this live? Had you heard of it? Had you seen the hashtags? If anyone's on Instagram as much as I am, you may have seen the hashtags. I've been trying to do better about that. I don't feel like I'm on there quite as much. Ah, Kim, thank you. That was really sweet. I was just going for better than like, oh. So Kim has not heard of the challenge either. Yes, so this is my first year hearing about it. This is actually the 14th year that this is happening. So this is an older challenge. It's a long running challenge, and it's obviously in May. And I think some of it is this kind of craft revolution where like more people are getting into crocheting and knitting and kind of sharing these things with the sewing world, because we're all kind of creating these. And I know not everybody creates wearables, but the ones who are, you're seeking out people that are also creating wearable items, and it creates this community. And then you start sharing hashtags like handmade wardrobe, hashtag I make my own clothes, and so then you're following hashtags that span different genres. So I think that is the beauty of Instagram and of this larger fiber and textile arts world, is because there are so many different things that you can do within that community. So I think that's really amazing. And yes, the amigurumi May challenge is another one. Now, me being someone who does not really make amigurumi, it's not something I don't think I would ever participate in, but I love seeing it. The people that do it, it's such a great challenge to get you to try different amigurumi options beyond what you've tried in the past. So I think that's extremely fun. Emma says, I love making my own clothes. And I never did. I mean, I think I made a formal dress, like a gown, which is crazy. And it's funny because I use the elements of crochet that I use now. So I made like this bandeau, I think that's how you say it, style top to the dress with like a corset in the back with just like, it's probably like curtain rope, like that golden rope that people use for like upholstery. And so I did like the corset in the back, and then the dress came down off of that, and it was just like a draped kind of style, and then it had like a train in the back. I need to find a picture of it because I tell people about it all the time, but people would never know it existed. That was the only real clothing I'd sewn. Now, I had sewn like pajama pants. That's an easy one. I think a lot of people learn like pajama shorts and pajama pants when they get a sewing machine. That's an easy one to start out with. So I had made those, and then mostly shorts. I've made little like pajama shorts, and I think that's kind of it for clothing, if I'm remembering correctly. Now, the more I look at modern crochet patterns, modern sewing patterns, it kind of makes me want to try some sewing, because I did pull the sewing machine out to make curtains for our RV, and that would pretty well, so I thought it would be really cool to be able to like make some t-shirts out of some different fabric, or like some tank tops. I love me a good tank top, so I thought that would be really fun. Let's see. Thorn says, me too. I'm cheering on spectator of amigurumi. Yes, same. Hello, Dawn. Welcome. And Emma, beyond what I have done in the past, I don't want to make anything bigger than my owl or dragon. I've made one goat and I am satisfied. Thank you. Yes, so I made some unicorns. There was one summer, it was like the summer of unicorns, where I made a whole bunch of little amigurumi unicorns. I say little, they were bigger. So they were like this big. And then I made one that was like, I could hold it under my arms, like a big stuffy. They all sold. They sold really fast. But I was over it after making like, I don't know, 7 or 8 unicorns. I was done, and I haven't made one since. But it was a really good pattern. It was a really good unicorn pattern. And Thorn says, I made a dragon once for my sister. Yes. So let's jump in. We've got 11 people according to mine. I don't know. I feel like some of these stats lie to me. Now it says 9, but we've got people here, and welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I am going to jump over to my blog. So I did do a blog post that outlines all of this, and I'm going to put it in the description if I remember to. Actually, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Let's see. Let me pull it up first. Of course, I didn't have it pulled up. But if you guys have never checked out my blog, it is at therealpinksheepdesign.com, and you just click on blog. I have pattern roundups, I have yarn reviews, I have crochet along landing pages where you can like go off of the blog to the YouTube channel to follow the different ones. I've got free patterns on the blog. I've got business stuff on its just a smorgasbord of things. But I decided to make this into a blog post because it was such good information and I didn't want it all to just have to live in the YouTube description. So this will allow me to kind of go through and give you guys a little rundown. So forgive me for reading, but I'm not going to be able to remember all of this. Me Made May is a wardrobe challenge, and it was started by Zoe. Her name's Zoe of Sozo blog. So that's SOZO blog, which is a sewing blog. So again, that's what's so interesting about this, seeing it transfer over from one area of fiber and textile arts to others for anyone who makes handmade items. And the challenge was meant to help improve our relationship with our handmade items, which is really interesting to me because I can't tell you how many times I have seen people say, you know, I made this item, but I never wear it. I never wear it out of the house. I don't eat whether, and it's all different reasons. Some people don't want to get it messed up. Like I spent all this time on it and I'm afraid that if I wear it out regularly, I'm going to stain it or rip it or tear it or something that's going to damage the garment. And so there's that fear of wearing it out because they don't want to mess up something that they spent all this time making. Now there's other people who maybe lack the confidence, so they haven't figured out the way to wear it that's going to give them that confidence to feel comfortable out, you know, wearing these items and styling these items, because that's a big part of it. I think, you know, I can't be the only one that really struggled with finding a style, finding a sense of style. I never had one growing up. I was always like from one fad to another. You know, I went through like kind of the punky mall rat phase, which my parents hated and threw away a lot of my clothes during that time. And yes, actually like threw clothes away. I went through this phase of kind of this weird bright boho feel. So I don't know if you guys remember when like it was really bright patterns and then there was this thing like everybody loved that band. So there was like a band at the bottom of the shirts. The shirts like bloused over. I had quite a few of those. It was just a lot. I never could figure out what I wanted. And I didn't feel comfortable in my body either. I think that was, you know, I've always had that issues with self-confidence, you know, always feeling like I was, especially in like middle school, I was a chunkier kid. I didn't feel like I looked as good as the skinnier girls, you know, so trying clothes on was really difficult. I remember my grandmother found me crying in a dressing room because I was surrounded by like probably 20 pairs of jeans and none of them fit, like not the way that I didn't feel good in them. And I think that that is something that, you know, it can remain difficult. I think it wasn't until I got into my 30s that I got a lot more confident in myself and how I wanted to dress and the clothing that I wanted to buy and wear, the style and, you know, just the way that I wanted to present myself to the world. And that gave me a lot more confidence, but it took a long time, you know? And so I think everybody's kind of on their own timeline there. There's people who figured that out really early on and they had their own specific style in high school and felt confident about that. And that kind of just morphed as they got older into what they wanted to wear. But yes, fashion phases. And I think that's how I felt. And I did like, whatever was popular, I like to try. But I'll tell you, like, you know, low-rise jeans were not fun for a chunky girl in middle school. You didn't have a lot of options. If you wore mid-rise, that means you were shopping in like the old lady section as, you know, someone who's what, like 11. So that was difficult. And, you know, I think this kind of challenge is fantastic way to help you explore your own personal style while utilizing and pulling in the items that you've created for yourself, styling them differently. And that's really the main part of that challenge. Let me check the comments really quick. I do have them pulled up. Let's see. Megan says, I love to make amigurumi until it comes to sewing the pieces together. Yeah, I was never a fan of like adding ears and eyes and tails and like trying to sew them into the body. It was not very fun. Summer of Unicorn sounds like a fantasy novel or an album that I would read or listen to. It does. Yeah. Summer of the Unicorns. Yeah. Or like a young adult novel. You know what I mean? Like the young adult fiction, right? Fiction, nonfiction, fiction novels. I remember I was in probably high school and I was still reading. It was like a unicorn series that was definitely for someone younger than I was, even in high school. But it was written well. It was a good story. I enjoyed them. But it was about unicorns. Emma says, I sewed a pair of curtains by hand for my toddlers like 10 years ago. I was really proud of those. And that's how I felt about the RV curtains. I did not think that that was going to be something that I could manage to handle. And I'll tell you, if you look really close to the seams, I tell you, you shouldn't. But from far away, they look great and they do the job and it's wonderful. And I got the fabric on clearance, so that was a bonus. But yeah, we have to be proud of the little things, the little wins of like, hey, I did it. I stuck with it and I did it. It may not be perfect, but now it's a thing and it's out there and there we go. Thorn says, I also feel like the stream stats lie to me. Do you use Streamlabs as well? So I just stream on YouTube. So I'm on my phone on the YouTube app, so I don't have any special streaming anything. So let's see. Hello, Chris. Welcome. What's fascinating to me is it's helpful for all makers, but I can see why it started in the sewing community since expectation equals people do not sew their own clothes. Exactly. Yes, especially now. I think there was such a you know, when we were in school, if your clothing was handmade, that wasn't usually cool. If you get what I'm, you know, like that wasn't a good cool thing if your clothing was handmade. Whereas nowadays, I think I kind of like that for this younger generation coming up in school is because they have, I think, more freedom to like be themselves and express themselves because it's kind of expected that kids are going to be a little more expressive nowadays with like their fashion. And like, I mean, I grew up, I had to wear uniforms. So like any and all, you know, of that, trying to express yourself in school was not something that you could really do. But I think it's a little more accepted and expected of kids now to feel like they can be a little bit more expressive with their clothing, and whether that means like handmade, crocheting, like kids wanting to wear crocheted clothing to school. It's interesting seeing that dynamic change, whereas before it was uncool to have handmade clothes. You look far enough back and like that's all you got. You know, I mean, most people, that's what you had. You had handmade clothes because a lot of people couldn't afford to go to boutique, to go to stores and purchase their clothing, so they would have handmade clothes. So I think seeing this transition and change throughout the years is really interesting to me, at least. And now we're at a point where we're making handmade clothes and we're trying to figure out how to feel good in them, you know, how we want to wear them. We spent all this time making them, but how do we challenge ourselves to actually, you know, get the guts up to wear them out and, you know, show them off. And I think that can be difficult for some people. Let's see. Have to let go of perfectionism, says Kim. Exactly. That's true. That's true. And Thorne says, I'm glad society has figured out handmade is awesome. I agree. And I think, again, it's kind of this crafty renaissance that we're seeing for sure. Okay, just making sure. Emma says, I never really had a particular style. I roll with all sorts of styles. Yes, and I think I am open to new styles. You know, I, for the longest time, would not wear high-waisted pants. Didn't want to at all. It was low-rise or mid-rise for me because that's what I grew up with and that's what I knew and was comfortable with. But now I'm really like diving into purchasing more high-waisted items and style. Like you can style them very differently, you know. So I think that's what's interesting is playing around with fashion. I don't consider myself a fashionista. You know, our house does not lend itself to have a lot of clothing. So I really have to, when I purchase clothing, I have to make sure that it's items that I can style in a whole bunch of different ways. And, you know, I try to keep the amount of clothing that I have to as much of a minimum as possible and have specific items that fit what I need. So, you know, like right now, for instance, I just bought over the last year, 3 pair of bell bottoms, like big bell bottoms, and I love them. I wouldn't have gone for bell bottoms over the last couple of years, you know, but I really, really like them. And I don't mean flare, I mean bell, like like the big bells. And I'm a big fan. Like that has become a big part of my wardrobe. I really enjoy wearing them. I would love to invest in some more wide leg jeans, like super wide leg jeans, but having those options, like I have some jean joggers, which I'd always wanted a pair of jean joggers, jogger style pants, and I have some boot cut, and I have some skinny leg jeans, and I have some cropped jeans, and having like one of each, or, you know, a couple in each color, having one of each allows me to style things in different ways. So, you know, styling the same shirt with high waisted jeans is not going to look the same as styling them with a low rise jean if the shirt is cropped, because then you're going to be showing off your stomach. And for me, that's not something I'd want to do. Some people, that's your jam. I think it's great. Like, I think whatever makes you confident and makes you feel good. But I think finding the right pieces in your wardrobe too will allow you, outside of handmade items, will allow you to style your handmade items in new ways. So for me, that means like last weekend, I went to the thrift store with one of my crochet BFFs who actually lives here in the same city as me. Not in the same city, but close enough. We're like 40 minutes away. So we went to the thrift store and I got, I think, 3 new pairs of shorts for the summer, and I'm going to be donating some of my old shorts that I'm not wearing as much. So I like to swap. So if I'm bringing new clothing items in, I know that that means I need to kick some older clothing items out to make sure that I'm not hoarding clothing, and to make sure I have space. I try not to have enough clothes to have to put half of them in Tupperware. I want to be able to see them. So if I can't do that, it's time to let go of some things. But got a couple pairs of pants, and those are going to allow me to try out some different ways of styling my handmade items. And I think in some ways that's all it takes to get your confidence to wear that item out, is finding the right way to style it with the rest of your outfit. Because I think that can be a hindrance, is if you've made something but then you're like, I don't know how to wear it. So trying out different ways, like wearing the item that you want to style to the thrift store or to the store, and then trying on items with it, I think would be super helpful for, you know, gaining confidence and like, how can I style this in a way that's going to make me feel really confident or really comfortable wearing it out. And yeah, bell bottoms, yes. Emma says, I'm learning to knit my own clothes. And yeah, and I knit one item and it did not fit me the way I wanted it to, and I never tried again. So crochet for me, but I think it's going pretty well. I'm really enjoying crocheting different things and learning how to style them and, you know, appreciate and wear them out. And okay, so jumping back into the challenge, I wanted to go through the specifics of the challenge for you guys, so that if you want to join in, and if you go to my blog post, it's the most recent post on my blog. So if you go to therealpinksheepdesign.com, and actually let me go ahead and share the link in the comments. So even if you're watching the replay, it should be in the live chat replay. There is the link to the blog post. If you want to bookmark it, you can. I also linked out for my blog post to Zoe's blog post that has even more details about the challenge, since obviously she is the one who started the challenge. So let's see. The challenge, like I said, is supposed to help improve our relationship with our handmade items, and that includes existing items as well as items we might choose to make in the future, which I think is really interesting, and she gets into that a little bit more. It may be more popular within the sewing community, which is what we talked about, but I feel like it's a wonderful challenge for anyone who makes any kind of handmade items for their wardrobe. I told you guys this before. I've heard it a lot of times from fellow crocheters and knitters that they struggle to actually wear their handmade items out for a huge variety of reasons. And I thought that it would be wonderful to talk about this challenge to see if it could help some of these people have a better relationship with their handmade items and actually want to wear them out more often. So, according to Zoe, how do I participate? To participate, all you need to do is pledge to wear your handmade items more often or in some way differently than you usually get dressed. So this is what I was talking about with styling your items. So if let's say the only way that I've ever worn this cardigan, so this is an upcoming cardigan that I'll probably be releasing in 2 months or so. But let's say this is a this is a lower rise. My belly button's here. Lower rise pair of shorts and a tank top. Oh, scam likely. Sorry about that. Low rise pair of shorts, tank top. So instead of wearing it this way, if this is how I've always worn it, then I would add into my pledge that I would style this differently, whether that's wearing it over a dress, whether that's wearing it with like a pair of high-waisted pants instead of, low-rise shorts, but styling it in a different way, whether that's layering it over another shirt or, whatever it is. If there are items that you have never worn, then part of your pledge would probably be to wear it out. Like, I have this item I've never worn. I'm going to wear it out at least once in the month of May. Or I have a few items that I've only ever worn over the same outfit. So like I have one cardigan that I wear with this dress, and that's the only dress that I wear it with. Then part of your pledge could be to wear it with a different kind of outfit when you wear it out. And I think that's really helpful because it kind of gives you a semi structure without being like super specific of like you have to wear a different handmade item every day, which she's very specific when she's talking about the challenge, that it doesn't matter how many items you have. If you only have one item that you have created for your wardrobe, then your pledge may be to just wear that item, at least 2 to 3 times during the month, or 3 or 4 times during the month, and styling it in a different way every time you wear it out. That would be a really easy way to pledge to be a part of the challenge without feeling overwhelmed. Like, you don't have to wear it every single day. You don't have to have a different outfit every single day. But maybe you actually just wear it out in May. Like, even if it's just once, if you've never worn it out of the house, you can choose 1 outfit or 2 outfits and wear it out during the month. So I think that's what's really important about this challenge, is she's made it very accessible. Anybody can participate because it doesn't matter how many items you've made for yourself, or what those items are, or like the structure is very loose when it comes to being a part of this challenge. And I think that's important when it comes to personal challenges, is giving us lots of options and ways that we can participate in ways that make us feel comfortable. So the point of doing this, so the point of pledging to be a part of this challenge, is to give yourself the opportunity to learn useful lessons and or alter how you feel about those items. So again, maybe you have something that you made for yourself that you're just not 100% in love with. This challenge gives you the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to try to take this item that I've made for myself. I spent all this time on it, but I'm not a huge fan of it, to force myself to style it in a different way and see if it makes a difference, and wear it out and see if I can find a way to appreciate this a little bit more. Even if I didn't think I liked it at first, maybe I can find a way to style it that'll make me feel more confident in the item. And this is, let's see. So she says there's no single set pledge because everyone is different. So this is what we're talking about, with different lives and different goals. So participants design their own pledge so that it will be challenging and useful for them. The challenge happens by setting specifics for yourself that will be difficult but doable. So thinking about that is, you do need to challenge yourself. So that's the point of the challenge, is it does need to be a little challenging, but it needs to be, you need to set goals that are actually achievable. So if you, let's say in the past month, you have worn one of your handmade items out the door once. Okay, so let's say in the month of April, last month, you wore one handmade item out the door one time in the entire month of April, okay? Which is probably me because I don't leave the house very often, just being honest. And when I do, I usually opt for like a sweatshirt. A lot of it is I'm concerned, like, what if a lot of my items, like I can't pull the sleeves up like I can on a sweatshirt. So I'm like, what if I get hot and then I don't want to have to take it off? So I'm not going to wear it. I'll just wear my sweatshirt. But if that's you, if you either last month you wore something out once or twice, or maybe not at all, maybe you didn't wear a single handmade item out the door in April, it probably wouldn't be the best idea to set a pledge that you're going to wear a handmade item out the door every single day. That's the point of the doable side. So if you wore 0 handmade items last month, it's probably not smart to pledge for the month of May to wear an item out the door every single day that you handmade for yourself. It would probably be better to start with once a week or once every 2 weeks. So we're going to wear a handmade item out the door twice if we only wore it out the door 0 times last month. So I think that's what's important to remember about this challenge is don't set yourself up to fail. Give yourself something that's doable, but maybe a little challenging to get yourself thinking about, the items, and don't go comfortable. Like that means this is the point of challenging yourself. If let's say you wore, this outfit, if I've worn this outfit out before, then part of the pledge would need to be, I need to wear this, but with a different outfit. So I need to change it up. I need to try something different. And I need to see all the different ways that I can utilize this cardigan to know that I'm going to get more use out of it and make it really worth that time and effort I put into making it. I hope that makes sense. That's what I'm getting from this. That's the vibe. You can't really predict what you'll learn by participating in this challenge, but by giving yourself a month to focus more on what you're wearing, which is important because Zoe is all about sustainability when it comes to creating your wardrobe and sewing and all of that. You're opening yourself up to gathering heaps of knowledge that you can take forward. That knowledge will help you make better choices for future projects. By applying the lessons, you'll be upping your chances of your future handmade items making you feel fantastic and having long, useful lives. And then I added, instead of hiding in the back of your closet. So this is what I found really interesting and what makes tons of sense for me as a crocheter is where she said that the knowledge that you get from this challenge will help you make better choices for future projects. So if you realize that there are items in your wardrobe that the shape or the drape or the yarn weight or something about that is putting you off, where like you just can't seem to style it in a way that you like, where you feel confident, maybe you don't like the way it feels. So like that's a big part of fiber. So if you have used a fiber that does not feel good on your skin, then that can be an issue. So you can learn moving forward, like I don't need to use that kind of yarn anymore if it bothers me. Like for me, I can't use mohair. I tried it once and I said, to me, it's super itchy. I'd have to wear something underneath it and I'd have to wear like a turtleneck underneath it. If it's something that is going to touch my neck, then I can't have that or my skin's going to be super itchy. So you're learning these lessons of like, if you don't wear something, why are you not wearing it? And really like getting to that root of, how can I make things that are different then, and a lot of that is trying different designers and trying out different yarn weights and different, again, types of fiber that you can use for your projects, but figuring out what makes you feel confident. And that is all about finding your personal style. So this is a challenge that can really, it's a bigger picture challenge too. So yes, it's going to help you figure out which of your handmade items are kind of being neglected. And some of that also means it's time to sell or donate them or gift them. If you have a handmade item that, part of your pledge is to wear it more and you still don't, then it might be time to gift it to someone or donate it or do something with it, because it's not going to do anybody any good sitting in your closet, especially if you're looking at sustainability and having a wardrobe that you actually wear. And that's what's always been important to me. If I realize that there is something in my wardrobe that I haven't worn for over a year, it's time to donate it, because there's a reason. Either it's just not something that I'm really connecting with my current style. Now there are some things that I keep because it's like, well, that's an interview outfit. So there may be things that I've kept for a long time. I think I have 2 or 3 really nice dressy outfits that I don't think I've worn for like 2 or 3 years, but they still fit. They're still modern, and they're still something that I might end up needing at some point if I need to wear something that's nice like that. But when it comes to my casual everyday stuff, I try to be pretty stickler about not allowing my wardrobe to get too big to the point where I'm not wearing stuff or don't know I have them because they're stuffed underneath other things, and then you just forget that you have them, and then it's a waste. So I think that's some of what I'm taking from this challenge, is reminding yourself to not hold on to things that are no longer bringing you joy. If anyone watched was it Marie Kondo, the cleaning for joy or something, I don't remember what it was called, something about joy. But if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. Make room for new things that bring you more joy. And I think that is something that we can apply to every aspect of our life. I think that that's extremely important. I didn't do all of the Marie Kondo stuff, but I took that lesson to heart, and that I think that's extremely important to remember when we're gathering things into our home and into our life, and to make sure that we really have use for them, and that they bring us some sense of joy or some sense of usefulness. Let's see. Thorn says the structure is loose, just like my tension. Yeah. Not me. I am a tight stitcher. Ellen says, honestly, I love to wear my handmade, and I think that's wonderful. I think if you know what you like, and again, if you find designers that you really like and you know that their stuff is going to fit you in a way that makes you confident, then I think that's amazing. And, I hope that there are other people out there who already feel that way. And now this challenge for someone who's already confidently wearing their makes out would just be to switch it up, and just be to try different things with the items that they're already wearing. And I think that's where someone like you, Ellen, could get benefit from the challenge. And what do you think? Like, Ellen, let me know, for you, if you were to pledge to do this challenge, what would that entail for you? Because you're already wearing your handmade items out. Do you have some that maybe you wear less than others? Would that be a part of it? I would love to know. Let's see. Making sure I didn't miss any of you guys' comments. Thorn says, for me, it's helpful to think about why something is difficult for me to wear. Does it need a clasp to stop falling off, and see if I can fix that? Exactly. So some of it's functionality. So if the item you're wearing is not comfortable to wear out because it's falling off, or not fitting correctly, then that could mean alterations. So you may need to alter some of your items before you're comfortable wearing them out regularly. Ellen says, loving this challenge. Kim says, this is a great challenge. And Emma says, this challenge sounds like my everyday life. Ellen says, I keep an over-the-door hook in my bedroom for styling my makes. Oh, I love that idea. If I haven't worn one, I'll hang it there until I figure out how to style it in just the right way. That's amazing. I love that idea. So an over-the-door hanger to hang an outfit, the whole outfit, so that you can see everything together. And like you said, if you have an item that you haven't worn, you put it on the hook by itself until you figure out how you want to style it. I think that's amazing. Bella came in late, but hello everyone. Hello. Let's see. If you have a closet full of things that you are hesitant to wear, this is a source of unnecessary anxiety. I didn't even think about that. It is amazing when you can connect with this idea. Yes, that is so true, because there are times where I keep something and I'm like, it's almost like we berate ourselves if we don't feel comfortable wearing something. I say that I do. So there's a pair of pants. I had a pair of pants in my in my wardrobe that I was hanging on to, and I never felt comfortable in them. And I would literally be like, well, maybe if I got in better shape, then I'd feel comfortable in them. Talk about negative self-talk. But I know that I'm not the only one who does that. So you hang on to something because you think, well, it should look good on me. This is a nice pair of pants and I should feel confident. So, like, it must be me. No, sometimes it's just the pants and you should get rid of them. And it may be that way with some of your handmade items. Like, maybe you made the wrong size and it's just not going to ever feel comfortable. So maybe you frog it and you make something else. And I think that is super important too, that it's okay to frog a project. I know sometimes that's really painful, and you have to give it time. That means maybe like put it away in a bag out of sight for like a year or two before you're willing to take it apart. Or again, gift it. If you really cannot bring yourself to take apart a project that you put hours and hours of time into, then maybe it's time to gift it to someone who will wear it, who will feel comfortable. And like, that's such a great feeling to me. I sell a lot of my sample items. So like, for instance, this piece right here was the one that I made for the pattern that's going to be released. So at some point, this will probably go up for sale. Maybe. I really like this one and I wear it a lot. So probably not, but we'll see. I don't know. It just depends on what I need room for. But when I've sold my sample makes, it's usually the ones that I have found that I'm not wearing like I wish I was. And I need more space because I keep everything I make unless I sell it in a sample sale. And to see my samples on other people who are so excited to wear them and are wearing them out and loving the items is such a good feeling. And I think that that's another area of this challenge that I really like for myself is figuring out what needs to go on sale. What are the things that need to get let go of? And if I can't sell it, then it's time to frog it. And I do have a couple of projects that I'm going to need to frog because I don't really see them selling. They weren't some of my favorite projects. And a lot of that has to do with the yarn, not the design. So I know yarn makes a huge difference in the design. And I have a couple of designs where I made it in one yarn option and I didn't really like it. I don't like the way it fits. It's just meh. And then I make it another yarn option and I love it. So I think that's a big part of that is, maybe you picked the wrong yarn for the design, and you can, if you love the design and you want to love it, then make a new one in a different yarn option and see if that is a better style for you, if that fits better with your style preferences. Thorn says, I love Marie Kondo. Yes, I like her way of approaching our homes and possessions feels familiar to me as a minimalist. I'm guessing that's what you meant. I don't know, animist. Maybe minimalist. It will be going to add at least one more wear day. Okay, so adding one more wear day to the month. So if you regularly wear handmade items for 2 to 3 days out of the week, it would be picking an additional day to wear a handmade item out. I like that idea. End pants guilt. Yes, throw them away. Donate them. Don't throw them away. Donate them. Emma, I'm like that with just about every pair of jeans or my corsets that I have outgrown. And that's a difficult piece. And that is really a personal preference. So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about weight loss and weight gain. Because this is a tricky subject, but I think we have to talk about it because it's everyday life, especially I think for women, there's that, that guilt around gaining and losing weight. And I know for me, I gained 30 pounds when I went to college. And it was pretty devastating for me for the way that I felt about myself, for my self-confidence, going out and having to buy new clothes because none of my other clothes were fitting me. At that time, it was easier to let go of clothing. I think when you're younger, it's kind of like, I'll just buy new clothes. Now, I didn't enjoy it because I didn't want to buy bigger sizes. But I couldn't wear clothes that felt too tight. That was always an issue for me. I couldn't, if things feel like they're squeezing me in any way, I'm not comfortable at all or confident wearing them. So, I had to go buy new clothes. But it was within my first year of college that I decided I wanted to make a change for myself and I wanted to get healthier and I wanted to be able to like run a marathon at the time, which never happened, by the way. But I thought it would be really cool to like feel a little more fit, feel a little stronger. And so I started waking up in the morning and running and doing exercises, trying to do it all the right way. I wasn't starving myself, but like I was reading up on like what was the healthy way to like lose weight and gain muscle and just be healthier overall. And um the problem is a lot of times that can tip over the edge into a problem. So into an obsession, and for me, I kind of teetered. I never got to a point where I would say that I had an addiction to exercise or an addiction or an eating disorder or anything like that. But I think I was right on that edge. So if I didn't have the support that I had a lot of people in my life that were super supportive and very truthful with me and very honest. And so I don't feel like it got to that point. But there was a point in my life for about a year where I was at the gym for like an hour and a half to 2 hours every day. And I was very, very strict about what I was eating. Now, again, I knew calories in, calories out. I knew how to like maintain it. So I was not anorexic. I was not bulimic. I was not, anything like that. But it was a little like obsession. Like I felt like I had to go to the gym every day, had to do this. And so for that point of my life, I bought new clothes that fit. And I was a size then that I'll never be again. And I'm okay with that. So I think it's finding a balance of like, if you are unhappy where you are, then you can do things to make changes, but it needs to be for you, not for anybody else, not because society says you should be skinny or fit or have a six pack, or it's not because of what anybody else thinks. It's how you feel about yourself. And it's not just how you look in the mirror, it's how you feel. And I think people skip that part. Like they think I need to look a certain way in my clothing and in the mirror, but it's also about how your body feels. So I know for me, when I had my hysterectomy surgery, I was really, really, really anxious and really stressed about having the surgery coming up. And I lost a lot of weight, like to a point where, and it was just to a point where I knew I was worried about the weight I was losing, and I started to get faint. So like, sure, my clothes fit great, but I was like on the verge of fainting just being out doing my regular business. So I think it's finding that balance of like loving our body. Like we have to take care of our body. It's the only one we get. So, putting good food in our body and, moving our body and feeling active and feeling good, not just looking in the mirror and seeing, something looking back at us. I think it's how you feel from day to day. Can you go to the store? I mean, most of us, I don't know if you guys have cats, but going to the store and picking up a litter box, like a box of litter confidently was important to me. I want to be able to like hold my own in the store. Can I go grab a 50-pound bag of dog food and throw it in the cart without a problem? Yes, I would love that. That's what I want. And so having the goals outside of looks, I think is really important. And I don't think anyone should shame you if you say, I want to lose weight, and someone give you shit about that. That's not right either. Like, we have to be supportive of each other. And, I don't know. I think it gets really tricky and sticky and weird when you talk about anything having to do with that. But I think my biggest takeaway from my journey of weight gain, weight loss is, it's more than just how you look, it's how you feel, and it's taking care of yourself. I think, if you are taking care of yourself, and there are a lot of haters. I had people who spread rumors that I had an eating disorder in college. I know I didn't, because I was taking care of myself. I never, at that point in my life, I wasn't getting faint. I wasn't getting dizzy. Didn't have, health problems because of what I was doing with, eating and working out and all of that. But I think it's focusing on yourself, caring about yourself, cherishing yourself. Yes, balance is key, says Ellen. Exactly. Thorn says, I lost a lot of weight before gallbladder surgery and I felt so ill. I'm happy being bigger now. Glad you're also feeling better. Yes. So again, I am larger than I was when I lost all that weight. I'm smaller than I was before I lost the weight. It was a happy medium. It was finding where my body was happy and I don't feel like I have to starve myself. I don't feel, I can eat what I want. But yeah, if I eat like, a whole pizza, then the next day I probably need to get on the treadmill for a little while, like just kind of balance things out. And yes, hashtag let people make decisions about their own bodies challenge. I think we have a new challenge. Ellen says, I've been watching The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning on Netflix, I think. It's amazing. The gentle part really makes letting go. I need to look at that. The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Okay, I'm going to actually take a screenshot of that so I remember. Let's do that, because I know as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to forget to come back to this chat. But I'm going to look it up, because if it's on Netflix, I have it. I don't have Hulu. I just have Netflix. Thorne says, body shame is a huge part of what this challenge can address, I feel. Yes, exactly. Animist is believing everything has a sort of life of its own. I like that. Yeah, I had not heard of that, so I need to look that up so that I know what I'm talking about. Seeing your makes being worn by others is very exciting, especially if they just look happy, you know. Thorne says, I've learned that letting things go lets that thing kind of be free to move on, whether in someone else's wardrobe or as yarn or even in recycling or something. Exactly. It's a flow. The circle of life. You like that? That's, you know, that's what you get when you come to Tuesday Live. A little bit of singing. Dawn says, I've made a shrug that is cute, but I've never worn it. So maybe it's time to take it out of the storage box. Yes, that could be part of your challenge, either wearing it. And if you wear it and you're like, still don't like this, or still don't feel confident in this, then maybe it's time to do something, you know, like whether that's frogging it or, you know, doing something else. I don't know. Let's see. Ellen says, I'm actually doing a challenge with a friend to wear it. We've been going on the daily since the first week of January. That's amazing. I love it. Let's see. Exactly. Circle of life. Yes. Okay. So I did want to make sure, because we only have a few more minutes. Let's go through the last of this challenge information in case you want to join. There are some important things that she wants people to remember when they take part in this challenge. First of all, the challenge is about wearing your existing handmade items. It is not about accruing more things. So I think that is extremely interesting, because I touched on wearing the item out to like a store and styling it differently. But that doesn't mean you have to buy things. It just may be a way for you to see what items in your wardrobe you could pair with it or add to it. But she does say it's not about accruing more items. Giving yourself a month to focus on what you've already created will help you appreciate what you have. Perhaps fall back in love with some items and subsequently get more from the time, energy, money, and resources that you've already put into your craft and your clothes. The next thing that she wants to make sure that we know about this challenge is that it is not a photo challenge. All the photos of people in their handmade outfits that appear on social media during May, and you can find these using the hashtag #MeMadeMay, can definitely make it seem that MMM is all about donning cute handmade outfits and taking and sharing photos. However, and she cannot stress this enough, those photos are documentation of the challenge, not the challenge itself. Photos are entirely optional. And I think that's really important, because we live in the age of social media challenges, and the focus of this is not to be a social media challenge. The focus of this is to be a personal challenge to allow you to focus on yourself and to focus on your wardrobe. If you want to share photos, I think that's great. It can be inspirational for other people, but that is not the focus of the challenge. And that's something that she wants to make very, very clear, which I think is important, because there's people who may feel like they can't be a part of it if they don't have Instagram, or, you know, can't share photos, or don't feel confident taking pictures of themselves. Let's see. It doesn't matter how many handmade items you have. And we talked about this earlier, but you can participate if you have just one single self-made item, or if you wear head to toe me-mades every day already. It's about working with what you've got, setting a suitable, challenging pledge, learning useful lessons, and having fun. And she said, now all you have to do is make your pledge, and it is the I, insert name here, pledge to wear, insert specifics about your pledge, for throughout May 2023. And I have that on my blog. And then again, I also have a link off to her website so you can get even more information. She also has a couple of podcasts that she has done. She hosts a podcast called Check Your Thread, which actually seems really interesting. I need to go back through and see what all of them about. There's a lot about sustainability, which is really cool. But she has 2 podcasts that I highlighted on my blog post. You can link directly to her podcast. And it is episode 37, which is Pledges and Participants number 1 with Rebecca and Meg. So these are actually challenge participants from past years. And then episode 38, which is Pledges and Participants 2 with Amy and Judith. So that can kind of help you see what other people have pledged and what that looks like. Or again, search the hashtag #MeMadeMay on Instagram. I'm not sure about searching on Facebook. I'm sure TikTok too would be a good place if that's where you prefer to be. And then I just ask on the blog post if anyone's ever participated in the challenge, if they wanted to share their pledge. So if you want to go to my blog post and comment, you can. If you want to comment about, your pledge or how you're going to get involved, or if you've ever done this before, you can do that there. And then of course you can join the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, just search Pink Sheep Design on Facebook in the communities tab, and it should pop right up, and you can join the Facebook group and join that conversation there. Let's see. Yeah. Ellen says it's also about learning to be okay with change. Exactly. And Thorn, are you here to buy things? No, I'm here to let the public gaze upon me. Exactly. And I love slow fashion sustainability, and it's fun to hear about it from other fiber and textile crafts as well as crochet. Yes, and that's why I'm hoping, like I said, that I can get a video filmed of me and Zoe. I think it's Zoe. It's Zoe. To chat about this, to see, to just ask her about how, it feels to see this challenge expanding to other crafts, and really how it got started. When it's 14 years out, it's always so interesting to see, like, how did this actually start? How did it come about? What did that look like when you were like, oh, this would be a great idea for a challenge? I don't know. I think it would be really fun to chat with her. So I hope I can make that happen. And before I go, I just wanted to remind you guys, we have until the end of May to purchase your DIY hook for the DIY Hook Challenge 2023. We are up to, I believe, 65 participants. So super, super excited, but you have all the way until the end of May to buy your hook. It's $15. You can enter the challenge. If you need more info on it, let me share that in the chat if you have not heard of it. Let's see. Wrong link. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. All right. So I am going to put this in the, there you go. Link is right there. And yeah, so I would love to see what you guys create. And if you have questions about the challenge, you can always reach out to me. You guys know that. You can comment in the Facebook group. You can reach out to me on Instagram. But we are super excited about the challenge. We have hooks going out today. I think I have 5 more hooks to ship out today. You can purchase more than one, but we cannot wait to see what you guys make this year. We're so excited. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Got a couple of patterns that are going to be coming out over the next week or so. Low Tide Tea is going to be releasing next week. So that's super exciting. And yes, Ellen, so I wanted her to do Pink Sheep and Friends, but she's in the UK. And so at 12 o'clock my time, at 6 o'clock her time, so she's eating dinner and like making dinner for her family and for her kids. So it just wouldn't happen. That's why we're going to try to do like a Zoom call that I can screen capture, that I can save, and then I'll be able to upload it onto YouTube. So that's the goal. Well, I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. You can catch me live. I am going to be going live on Instagram this Friday for a Pink Sheep and Friends episode 51. And I'm going live with Christine of Woman Walking on a Wire. You may be in her Facebook group, Alternative Crochet, or you may have seen some of her amazing granny square patterns that are like aliens and all kinds of things. I don't want to say the wrong stuff, but check her out, Woman Walking on a Wire. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her group, Alternative Crochet, on Facebook. You can find her on Etsy. I mean, she's got all of her patterns on Etsy, so check her out. But we are going to go live together this Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Instagram. And then we'll be back next Tuesday. And we need to figure out a topic for next Tuesday. So I'm going to be kind of doing a little homework myself. But if you guys have any ideas of what you would like to talk about, just let me know, because I would love some topic ideas from you guys. And yeah, I hope y'all have a great week. And until next time, happy hooking!